Hello guys, today I will be showing you how to create textures on this object that we created in our previous video. So the first step is we're going to create seams to be able to unwrap it properly. If we just unwrap this object as is, it's not gonna unwrap clearly because software doesn't know where to cut the piece of clothing or this outfit. So let's go to our UV image editor, remove this image, click on it and press A to select it all, and U unwrap. Now you see how this is unwrapped. We don't want it this way because we cannot texture it. So what we are going to do is that we are going to create cut marks where we think our object or our outfit is going to have those stitch marks, for example, just like in any other real life piece of clothing. So let's come to the edge mode and select this part. Same way on the other side, select this one and do Control E and mark seam. Now you see how we have this red line, that means that's where the cut is going to happen. Same way we have to create a cut at the shoulder line. Let's say I would do it from here, and same I'll do it here. Control E, mark seam, and let's do another cut onto the shoulder. Let's say we wanna do it here. This is a little alright, just these. Control E, mark seam. Now this is a simple piece, so we don't need to create a lot of seams, just these ones will do. If you want to go into more details, then you can add more seams, have them cut to their separate piece and texture them separately. That's however you want, but just for the sake of tutorial, let's just keep it simple. Now that we got all these cuts done, select all of it, press U and unwrap it again, and you see how the clothing has unwrapped properly. That's the front, the back, and two arms. Now I want the arms to have the same texture, so what I can do, I can select one piece, just select one vertex, Control L to select all of it, and then let's scale it on x-axis at -1, sx -1. This will flip it over, and with G and Y we can just move it and overlap it as good as we can on the other piece, so we can just texture one arm and the other one will be textured or mirrored. Now let's reorganize this a little bit. So for example, I'll move it here. This one I'll move it here, and this one I'll just move it upward over here. Since it's only three pieces, we have a lot of space. We can organize it however we want. And but if you would had more, then you would have to do a better organization of having everything into one palette. Now let's say I wanna increase the size. Since I have space, so I can increase the size of these a little bit. So I'll select all of them and I will scale it to size 1.5. It's too big. Scale 1.2. This sounds better. And just move it around here. Okay, now our unwrapping is done, and what we're gonna do now is we will export this UV layout into an image file, so we can import that one into Photoshop and we can start adding texture to it. So while you have it here, go to UVs and export UV layout. I would want it to be a 2K texture, so let's just change it to 2048 on the X and Y, and export it as whatever name you want to give it to. Let's say I want to give it outfit underscore UV. Save it as PNG. Export UV layout. Alright, this part is done. Alright, now we will import our UV layout to Photoshop first. So we have this outfit UV, drag it to Photoshop, and just change this first layer's name to UV. And now we would want to have another layer where we have a solidified version of this layout. So if we wanted to select one piece, we could just click and select easily. It becomes handy when you have to select it repeatedly for different purposes. So let's create a new layer and change the name to solid. Click back on UV, and with this tool just select the surroundings of this UV layout and go to select inverse, so you have only these three pieces selected. Come back to the solid layer, press shift F5 and give it a foreground color black or whatever color you want to give it. So now we have a solidified version. For example, I wanted to select only the arm, so I can just select the arm, or I can select this or this separately without having to go through a lot of other tools. It's easier this way. Now unhide this back, and it's time to first export our base texture to this. So I have a fabric texture here. I will just drag it to Photoshop, and since it's a seamless texture, so if we make copies of it, there will not be any seams visible, so our textures is continuous. Now let's move it here and start making copies with Alt and just drag it to make a new copy. Just fill it up. Okay, now that we got it done, let's just select all of these and press Ctrl E to make one layer out of all of these, and just move it all the way down. So we have our UV layout on top of everything, just in case if we need to design around it, we have it on the top. Now let's first save it as PNG. Let's say outfit. I will name it outfit D. D is for diffuse map. Save it, and we have this texture over here, which is in 2K resolution. Now come back to Blender, and we have to add this texture to the object in a material. So go back to the object mode, go to material tab and make a new material, and make sure you're in the Blender render mode and not in cycles, because cycles has a whole different structure which revolves around nodes, and we're not gonna go into it. So in the materials, let's rename it to the base material and move the emit to 1 so that we can see it without having to render it with the lighting all the time. Come to the image tab, create a new image which is already going to be assigned to the material which is there, and scroll down and open our outfit DPNG. So we have it. Now let's come to the texture, and we see how we have it assigned to the outfit. And if your image doesn't appear here, you can just select on this list and select the image that you just opened. It will show up. Okay, now that we got it done, this is a basic application of the texture. Now we will go ahead and we will start tweaking a little bit of it to make it look a little bit more realistic. Now our stitch marks that were supposed to be here, we will just add some shadows to create a feeling of having a little dip because of the stitch. So let's come back to Photoshop, open up your UV, and no, actually, in our create a new layer first, and we want to call it shadows. It sounds now we had the solidified version. What we will do, we will just control and click on this layer, solid layer, to have the selection done for us. And while we are in the shadows layer, just to fill this selection with any color. I usually go with white, easier for me to look at it, and add some layer effects to it, usually inner shadow. Move the distance to 0 and size to, let's say we want to do a size of 8, or if you think it's too small we can do 10. It really depends upon the size of the texture you're working at, so you can tweak your size over here. Let's say we put it at 10 and OK. Control D to unselect everything and move this layer's fill ratio to 0%. So all we got left is this old black shadow. Now we want to have some of these sides turned to white so they can generate an effect of black and white shadow. You know how it looks in real life. First we will have to rasterize this layer effect. So right click on it and rasterize layer style. Now let's say I want this is the front, this is the back, so I want the front to have white shadow. So I will just select it and press Ctrl I to inverse it to white. And this arm, one side is black, so the other side is supposed to be white, so we'll just turn one side of this arm to white. Alright, now we can again save it as outfit UV, outfit D. Come back to Blender and just while you're in the image tab, just refresh to see how it is now looking. Now we have those tiny bit of detail to the arm and to the sides. Only one thing that we still haven't done is there is no white shadow here and here, so we will go back and we will turn since this is your shoulder line, since shoulder is white here, so we can either turn this to white or we can turn this side to white. So let's just turn this side to white, select both sides and Control I, save it again and refresh. Now we got this with the shadow and stitch marks. Now in the next part I'll show you how to add stitching to these sides if we want. Alright, in order to make some stitches, what we will do is we will use our pen tool here and select the pen tool, make sure it is on shape, fill nothing, and do the stroke of black for now. at 3 point, and just start uh, making a path. Right, so this is our stitch path, and now we are done with it. So what we're gonna do is come to the stroke type and click on the second line, which is the broken line pattern, and you can also tweak the size of it. Let's say I want to do it 2 points, which is gonna make it thinner. Come back here, go to more options, and you can increase or decrease the dashes and the gaps between them. This kind of seems okay to me, so I'll just go with it. Now after we're finished with it, let's change the stroke color to white, or since it's kind of a grayish black and white, so I'll change it to a little bit of off-white, not completely white. And now we are done with that. We're gonna add some layer effects to the stitch to kind of blend it in with the layer behind it. So let's go to bevel and do a bevel of 2, or you could do 3, depends upon how big or small your whole texture file is. And same way, come to the drop shadow. We're not gonna use global light. Let's say around here, so the shadow falls over here, or we could just do the distance 0 so it falls all around it, and play with the shadow size, 3 or 2. Let's say 3 seems a little better than that. Done. And we can now copy and flip this horizontally and move it to the other side. So just create a copy of the layer, Control T, flip horizontal, and move it with the shift pressed, move it horizontally to roughly here, and we can always save it and check it how it looks. Outfit D, come back here, refresh the image, and see how we have this stitch around the edges on both sides. Same way we can add the stitches over here and to the back side over here. So I'm gonna use the same method that I just used. I will keep my stitches around the white line. So let's say stitch 1, stitch 1 left, and I can do that stitch 1 right. Similarly, I'm going back to the pen tool, and I'm just gonna start Okay, now when we're finished with this part, we can just copy the layer style from here and we can paste it onto this layer so we don't have to rework the whole thing again. Similarly, let's add some stitch marks to this side with P. Okay, we can save it again. see how it looks like now. Okay, that done, and we can add some more shadows to the body. For example, a little bit of shadow around here. So let's turn on our UV so we know where we are working. Go to make a new layer. Let's just group all the stitches together so the work stays tidy. Layer 1, shadow 2, smoothen it out, and just kind of work like this, and do the opacity to 25%. Okay, I mean it's not perfect, but it's just to give you an idea of how to kind of make it look more detailed. Or we could add some more stain marks right here, for example with this. Let's do it a little bit more. Tiny bit over here. Select this one, do tiny bit over here. Okay, you see how it's looking more. Same way we can add a whole stitch mark over here. Let's try to do it as well. Or same way we have a double stitch around the neck. And this pretty much concludes our basic texturing tutorial. I hope you liked it. Thank you.